Heath Ledger's Joker in preparation for Black.
Bit of a different start there, Jack.
Was a little bit.
Bit different. Hello and welcome to the Room Pulse Media radio show and podcast. As always, we'll be talking all things film, TV. But this week it's just myself and, of course, Jack Savage. We're two hosts down, but twice as strong, as I like to think.
Just the dream team today.
Just the dream team. We're like the carers, and we've left, we've the careys at home.
Back at the home.
Back at the home, catching up on work and illness.
Excuses.
Yep, as always, we've got a soundtrack this week, and if you can guess it, be sure to comment on our Facebook page, which is the Room Pulse Media Radio Show, or tweet us at the Room Pulse. Here's a bit more. And that was our first song off this week's soundtrack. And remember, if you can guess it, be sure to comment on our Facebook page in order to win a prize. What will that prize be, Jack?
Nobody knows.
Nobody
Mystery
knows.
box.
I'm sure we don't even know what the prize is going to be, but it'll be good. So yeah. This week, as always, we'll start off with a bit of news, but not too much because we've got quite a lot to talk about today, I guess. We're going to be doing about the comic cinematic universes, all of them, DC, Marvel, everything in between. Basically, comic book adaptations to the big screen. We did an adaptations episode way back in season 1, and we've done a Stephen King one this week, but now we're focusing...
What was our first adaptations episode? Just in general? Best adaptations?
Yeah, it was just best and worst adaptations.
Okay.
But Tom was like,
Strong
no,
Stephen King.
comics don't stand as adaptations. I'm like, of course they do. You-
Logan, just bringing it back relevant. Logan's got a nod in it this year at the Oscars.
Yeah, and we'll be discussing the Oscars next week.
Because the Oscars are on Sunday night.
Will you be staying up to watch it?
Of course I will.
I don't think I've got anything on Friday, so... in the first bit of news, new Westworld Season 2 images online. Did you see the trailer that came out?
No, I'm avoiding it. I don't watch... I try not to watch film trailers, but I never watch TV trailers.
I've still not seen the final episode of Season 1.
It's brilliant. Westworld is brilliant.
I can't remember why I didn't watch this final.
It's really, really
I think it's like one of those things, when you enjoy something so much, you don't want it to end.
Finish.
Yeah, so I think I just avoided the last episode. But I really enjoyed it up to that point. It reminded me very much of Lost, which is one of my very, very favourite TV series.
Like Lost? I've never seen it.
I love it. Obviously, J.J. Abrams had an hand in both. Although he's lost some brownie points for me with the Cloverfield Paradox, because that film is...
Probably just slapped his name on that one. Had nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah, it's just his production company, really, isn't it? So...
so yeah, we're talking about superheroes, we're talking about news. I've got 5 questions as well.
Oh yeah, of course we're doing.
We've got a brief quiz this week. We expected 20 questions, but we've got 10.
So yeah,
you know.
brief. Last week's episode was like half the episode was a quiz.
It was a quiz, yeah.
So
and it was just painful.
We're still working that out. So be sure to let us know what you think.
If you want.
Right, yeah. So Jack, have you seen any more news this week?
I've not seen really any news that I remember seeing. Other than the Bond director, the guy who did Spy Love Me and Moonraker, I think, died.
Yeah, Lewis Gilbert.
He did
6 decades, 97. He had a good innings. Following his death, Gilbert was. Oh no. That was about his father's death.
There you go. He did You Only Live Twice, Spy Love Me, and Moonraker.
Alfie, which is Michael Caine's a very famous film of Michael Caine.
Now, Moonraker is not a good Bond film, but The Spy Love Me is.
I like Moonraker. I like it. It's one of the... It's most similar to like a Kingsman film, so to speak.
It is.
Over the top.
However, they take the greatest bad guy in the franchise, Jaws, and make him into a good guy because of a girl.
That is a good point.
No, not having it.
Not having it. Do you not think the guy who plays Jaws looks a lot like Biff out of Back to the Future?
Yeah. He's dead now, isn't he, the guy who plays Jaws?
Yeah, I believe so. I think Atlanta Season 2 got released yesterday. I've not seen Season 1, but I've heard good things about it. I do plan to watch it at some point when I get around to it.
It's called like Atlanta Robin Season or something, isn't it?
Is it? I'm not sure.
I read something about that anyway. Maybe
This is a sad bit of news. Emma Chambers, star of the Vicar of Dibley in Notting Hill, little blonde woman, lovely. She's unfortunately died this week. Which was
53.
Yeah,
and it's natural causes. What
Yeah.
sort of natural causes for a 53-year-old to die?
I don't know. There's plenty, isn't there? You know, it's like anything apart from. She probably had an illness that she didn't know. As I was saying to you the other week, an actor that we know very well, his heart just stopped the other day because he had a rare heart condition. Never knew about it. Backstage of a play, dead. But now he's alive.
He's alright.
He walked back up. Oh yeah, here's a big bit of news. Josh Whedon obviously has left Batgirl.
I didn't even know he was on Batgirl.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon has a hand in like every superhero thing that happens, though, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, this is
superhero king.
He signed up, I think, even before Justice League, and then he was sort of like recruited to help finish Justice League after
Snyder's problems.
Yeah, his tragedy. I think this is more a case of he's been pushed out of the door.
Oh, really? You'd think it's weird to kick someone like Joss Whedon out of the door.
Well,
of a superhero
he's one that's
film.
had not sexual assault allegations, but he's been.
Oh, really?
His wife, he's gone through a very bitter divorce with, has come out and said like he was very unfaithful for all their years of marriage, and it seems he was one of those sort of guys that was a bit like
abused his power,
so to speak.
That he was
Which is disappointing when you think he has films with so many female protagonists. Yeah, he obviously Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he was going to do a Batgirl film. So can you imagine when it came to doing the press for that, people asking him about all that sort of stuff. So maybe Patty Jenkins will take over. That'd be interesting. Again, although I don't like the idea that, well, it makes sense, but we'll have to get a woman in to do that film, so to speak. Now, but nothing against Patty Jenkins or female directors. It's just
I suppose it's
anybody
probably a reasonably good time before we start the episode. Because I saw this week, I saw 2 Oscar-nominated films. I saw Call Me by Your Name and I saw Lady Bird.
Oh, fantastic!
Lady Bird is brilliant. Lady Bird is a really, really, really good film.
I thought that'd be your least favourite.
No, I really enjoyed Lady Bird. However, I understand that it's because there was a lot of uproar because she's not nominated, is she? Director.
I think she is. Greta Gerwig, yeah.
There was a lot of uproar, I thought, about why she wasn't. We'll just double check.
Yeah, I'm sure she is, because... Yeah, I'm 90% sure she is.
Let's type in Oscar noms, isn't it?
Because she wrote it. Yes, Best Director, Best Writer.
Okay. Well, I don't think the directing stand out in that film. I think Saoirse Ronan's brilliant.
It's good performances, yeah.
But I don't think the directing stand out. I think the strongest part of Greta Gerwig, especially a female directing that film, is that obviously a female has a lot more insight into the female mind.
Well, I think a lot of it's built from her own personal experiences.
Yeah, what the topic is. So it's a brilliant film. It's really, really good. I'd put it below Shape of Water and 3 Billboards, but I'd put it third. Call Me by Your Name, on the other hand, was I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was like I thought the first 40 minutes was quite slow. It picked up after that. I did enjoy it. I was not enjoying it for the first
I found
40 minutes.
their relationship very convincing.
I found that convincing. And the acting was good, but I didn't think Timothée Chalamet was as good as everyone's hyping him up to be. I think he's good in it, and he plays the part very well. But I don't know. I could tell he was acting.
Who?
If that makes sense. Timothée Chalamet. Armie Hammer on the other hand was great.
I think Armie Hammer was great. I think Timothy was great as well.
He's a very good actor.
I think
I think he's better in Lady Bird.
When we talk about Oscar nominations, I give Armie Hammer a supporting actor nomination.
I'd definitely give him a supporting actor.
I think he's fantastic in that.
He is very, very good in it. Because he's not gay, is he?
I tell you who's really good, and he's proper snuck up on me. This guy.
Michael Stuhlbarg. I've known him for a while because he was in Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
He played Rothstein in Boardwalk Empire, which is one of the biggest parts. He sort of like this. He owned like the gang out of town, like the.
Yeah.
And what Boardwalk Empire? When was that? 2011, though. A good while ago.
Well, I've started watching Fargo season 3, and he's in that quite heavily. And
he plays his assistant.
Yeah, and he's
it's a great show.
He's also in Shape of Water. Plays the scientist.
He does. Yeah, no, he has. He's popped up quite a lot recently.
And Arrival.
What was the first thing I saw him in after after, because he was in.
He's got some good films to his name.
When he was.
I don't remember him in Seven Psychopaths.
Yes, no, I actually.
Oh, he's one of these. He's one of the
at
assassins.
the very beginning.
Yeah.
And with
shoot him in the eye or something like that.
Yeah, they both get shot in the very opening scene, with another guy from Boardwalk Empire. But I'm not sure what the first film he was in after he finished in Boardwalk Empire.
Is he the leading man in A Serious Man? He is. There you go. I've not seen that thing. I think that's one of the few Coen Brothers films I haven't seen. That Serious Man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought I'd just round up what I saw about those two. I think they're both. I mean, Lady Bird is very deserving of Oscar nominations.
Oh, definitely.
But equally, I don't think Calling by Name. I don't think the script was very good. I don't know how it's nominated for adapted screenplay. I think that's the best bit in the entire thing was. The last scene, you know, the talk that Michael Stuhlbarg gives to his son.
Yeah, when he sort of says that he knows
that's a really
what's going to
good
happen,
scene.
What's happened, and he's okay with it.
That's a really good scene, and it's really good dialogue. But then you've got a script where a line in the actual script is "Call me by your name and I'll call you by yours" is the worst line. I literally cringed. It's a poor line. It's just like if you saw that in like a Transformers films, for example, you just go, oh, more reasons of terrible script writing.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't think the script was overly poor.
I don't
maybe
think it's poor. I just don't think it's worthy of a
translation.
But it'll win the Oscar as well.
We haven't read the book as well, and we don't know how faithful it is to the adaptation. That could be a good reason why it was nominated.
All in all, it was a good.
One of those ones
film,
where there's few films I could say, and I can't remember exactly the nominations I gave for Best Picture, but there's very few films I'd put in its place, you know. And
what in terms of adapted screenplay?
In terms of Best Picture and adapted screenplay, that would go over it that aren't already nominated.
I suppose it. Yeah, if you're looking at it like that, it is good.
Apart
I
from
enjoyed
T2, I really loved Trainspotting 2 this year.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Song
number
2 on this week's soundtrack. Let us know what you think of this little beauty. Hello and welcome back to the room. There we go. That was a beautiful tune. Me and Jack were just watching some Curb Your Enthusiasm memes during that song, so we got a bit distracted. Right, on to the theme of this week. Comic book films. We're going to talk about all things comic book film related in terms of best and worst plots, antagonists, protagonists, adaptations, faithfulness, what works, what doesn't work, you know, just a bit of everything. And let us know if you have anything you like to contribute towards the radio show. You can comment on our Facebook page. You can, tweet us at The Room Pulse. Just get involved. Come on. This is an interactive thing. It's between you and me and everybody. It's all love. One love. Okay? It's all about that one love.
Okay.
Jack, I'm going to start by asking you, who do you think the best and worst sort of villain we've had in the sort of comic book boom that we've had
in comic book
and in generally?
Generally,
yeah.
Well, I think
history.
It's hard to dispute that although recently DC films are poor.
Yeah.
It's hard to dispute that the thing DC has got going for it is its strong villains. And it's equally hard to dispute that the Joker isn't the best villain in comic book history. Interesting point. And if I was to say to you, which Joker incarnation would you say is the best? Well, I think everybody's sort of the same on this. That Heath Ledger portrayed the Joker the best. But equally, I don't follow DC that much, and I've never actually seen the original Batman films. You know, with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And I didn't. Obviously, nobody liked Jared Leto as the Joker. That was terrible. But Mark Hamill voices a very good Joker in the games.
Yeah, I think people generally agree on that, don't they? That
Mark Hamill is a very good Joker. He's very. I mean, I've played the Arkham games, and he plays the Joker in that. He plays Joker in 2 of them, I think. Not third.
Yeah, without risk of sounding too cliche, I've got to say that I think it's mainly because if you look at the Dark Knight, the Joker wins, doesn't he? In the end,
essentially,
he gets what he wants, and I feel like that universe could have built on so much more if it wasn't for the tragic death of Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Like, it almost builds to his character, and it's a testament to how good that performance is. That they couldn't emulate it or replace
They make a note to not to mention Heath Ledger again throughout the in Dark Knight Rises, and I think he probably planned for.
Well, I think apparently, sorry to interrupt, but in the Dark Knight Rises, the judge scene where Scarecrow is there, like,
is that supposed to be the Joker?
that's meant to have, that was written in mind of, with the Joker in mind to replace him, which again,
But it's not particularly a stand. It wouldn't have particularly been a standout scene for the Joker. I feel like he would have had a much more powerful effect on the film if it had been.
I don't know. I wouldn't have liked to seen him come back and like dominate the film, but in a small role like that, like he's an anarchist, you know. And like I said, he gets his own way. He obviously he breaks Batman, forces him into retirement. His work is done almost. His character, he's done his job, you know. Kills his love of his life. You know,
Does kill his bird, doesn't he?
yeah, it's makes him question everything. I think it's a fantastic portrayal.
It is. I mean, it's very difficult to argue that the Joker isn't the best villain, and Heath Ledger portrayed him very well. It's a damn shame that Heath Ledger died, because you know.
Yeah. What about, you say, what would the worst one be in your opinion?
Worst. See, this is tough because there's been a lot of bad super. I mean, if you then I think you've got to, if you're talking about bad superheroes, because obviously I haven't read enough comics to know like who's a bad superhero. I think I've got to narrow it down to the weakest sort of films. So equally, sort of like, I don't know, narrowing it down to something like Iron Man 1. It's like his bodyguard, and he plays the villain.
Well, no, it's his boss. It's Jeff Bridges, isn't it? His sort of mentor.
I thought that was his bodyguard.
No, Jeff Bridges is his mentor.
In Iron Man 1?
Yeah. In Iron Man 1, it's Jeff Bridges, but he's bald in it. It's really jarring, you know. I'd say Iron Man 2 with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah. No,
That's pretty awful, to be honest.
Pretty weak. I mean, I don't remember anything about Iron Man 2, to be fair.
Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like the third one because it's got a bit of fake out where the villain isn't actually the villain. But
Iron Man 3 is great.
Yeah, well, it's Shane Black in it, but
I do. I really like Iron Man 3, and I like the whole "Hello, I'm Trevor Slattery" thing that
sometimes I think it's not so much based on performance. Like Heath Ledger, Jared Leto's obviously was very unpopular.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of it's writing as well. And
I didn't particularly mind his sort of. I mean, where's he going to go with that character? I quite like the idea of like a more of a gangsterish, crime orientated Joker than purely insane. You know.
I mean, you got to look at Spider-Man 3 and Sandman as well.
Oh yeah, that's.
I mean, just look at Spider-Man 3 as a film, but
such a shame that the studio took all of that and were like, yay.
Because I love the idea of Venom, because Venom's getting its own standout film this year, isn't it, with Tom Hardy playing Venom. Yeah. And I really like the villain Venom. He's like opposite to Spider-Man. He's like the Spider-Man's greatest foe sort of thing. But for some reason, he's just never been in, other than Spider-Man 3, but he wasn't really.
There's all sorts of licensing issues, I think, and copyrighted issues.
Stuff,
yeah, because that's why that Venom is in a different universe to Spider-Man, possibly.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that at the minute.
I've not watched that trailer either. I've sort of
Venom
that,
reveals nothing. I saw a trailer the other day, just to digress slightly, of like a new Sam Worthington film.
Oh, yeah.
Called what's it called now? Can't remember. Well, I'll get it up. But Sam Worthington plays a man whose Earth is dying, and he's being prepped to sent to a different planet.
He's not been in anything for a while, has he?
No, well, he's been trapped in the Avatar.
Yeah, I was going to say, I reckon
universe.
Avatar is about it.
So yeah,
from now.
he's
Oh, of course, he was in Hacksaw Ridge briefly. He played the.
He's quite good in that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a soldier who's being prepped for, this is it, the Titan, prepped for a
Avatar 1, Jake Sully. Avatar 2, Jake Sully. Up to Avatar 5.
Prepped to go into like a groundbreaking mission to go into another planet, and then these things he goes through, he ends up turning blue and into a fish-looking man. It's basically Avatar.
Sounds a lot like a cross between sort of like District 9 and Elysium and.
Yeah, and
Avatar.
The trailer for it. I was like, well, don't need to see that now. It's like, you know, when you see like a on YouTube, there's these channels which are like everything wrong with this film,
Oh yeah.
or the key points of this film. And
Yeah.
you watch a film in 15 minutes. It was like that, went 2.5 minutes. It literally went through everything. It was ridiculous. It stars Taylor Schilling of Orange is the New Black and his kid.
No,
He turns into a blue man. The government don't like it. They threaten to kill his family. He just goes around killing people.
all right. I mean, sure.
Yeah, to save his family.
Is
And
that
then he
still
has-
Sam Worthington, the blue guy?
Yeah, it looks awful as well. The special effects. I'll have to get an image up of what he looks like in the Titan.
Oh jeez, yeah.
It's
It doesn't
really
look great,
poor
does
special effects.
it? That looks like pre-special effects, doesn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, just don't. It's a shame. I really liked him. Have you ever seen a film called Rogue? He's really good in that.
No.
It's like one of his earlier films about the
He's in
overflips.
Sin City. Was he in Sin City?
No, these are comic book films.
Oh, okay. That's a great comic book film.
It is a great comic book film, and you know what? I don't mind the second one either. I mean, it's not as good.
I couldn't get through it. I don't think I probably, if I'd have sat, if like I tried, I think, but I just wasn't. I was like, because it's a shame because I was well excited when it came out because I love Sin City. It's a great film.
Eva Green's in it.
She is. In fact, that's the bit.
Everybody's
That's the bit where I gave up.
Yeah.
When Eva Green came into it, I was like, you know what?
What did you do instead of watching that film, Jack?
I just turned it off and went.
Went and did what, Jack?
Watching another film, Josh.
Yes. What age rating was this film?
I don't know. PG. Could have been Finding Nemo.
Could have been. Tell you who is a terrible villain. It's making me laugh just thinking about it. What's his name from plays the Juggernaut in X-Men 3? Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones is in X-Men 3.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Do you remember that? Oh,
10
my
out of 10.
goodness.
X-Men 3 is the one where he gets he gets the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, doesn't he, and puts it across to Alcatraz.
It's where Brett Ratner takes over. He introduces a bunch of new characters, which is all very interesting, and then kills all your favourite ones off. And then ever since then, they've been trying to rebuild that universe and just oh god, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Oh, what a line!
Should get that as a soundbite.
I really should. Yeah.
I forgot this even existed.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Can't argue with that.
No, you cannot. There's Ellen Page looking at could be 17, could be 4. We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Oh, have you seen the trailer for Ralph? Sorry,
Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, it looks great.
No, I haven't, to be honest.
There's a new trailer for Wreck-It Ralph. Well, a trailer.
I've
for
not
Wreck-It
even seen the
Ralph
first
2.
one.
You've not seen Wreck-It Ralph 1?
No, I'm not a
First
big
of
fan.
all, watch Wreck-It Ralph. Great film. Second of all, Wreck-It Ralph 2 trailer.
You know what? I never sit down to watch. The only place I ever really watch animations, it's really weird, is when I go see my girlfriend's family.
Or do they just watch animations all
Well,
the time? Fake.
I don't know why, but I just go around and like.
You're not a big
it's just-
animated
I
fan.
don't know. I am a fan. I don't make the time to watch them. I went to watch Coco recently.
Coco's brilliant.
I wasn't like.
Overly excited.
Oh well, I got to see that over the Alien Man. I didn't really want to see the Alien Man.
Yeah,
especially.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I watched a lot of them, but now it's mainly because my sister's a baby. Peppa Pig.
Oh, so you just bang animations on all the time.
Peppa Pig and Winter Olympics was what I got last time. But, it was you know.
So if you ever wonder why he's ducking going to your house, Faye, stop putting
Hey, I'm
Peppa
not
Pig
complaining.
in the Winter
I'm
Olympics
not
on.
complaining. I learned a lot about mise en scène through Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig. And there you go then.
Danny DeVito's as the Penguin is
Oh.
questionable.
Yeah, again, never seen it. But I like the Penguin as a villain. I like him.
He's scary.
Yeah,
Well, I found him scary as a child when I
Danny,
saw
Danny DeVito is scary. He's a scary
He
man.
sort of is,
He's
isn't he?
scary.
He's
He's
sort of-
Matilda's dad.
Yeah, because of his dad.
No, Matilda's dad.
Oh yeah, that is true. Well, Miss Trunchbull's terrifying.
Well, I tell you what, superhero villains, Miss Trunchbull.
Yeah, and that is a.
She spins a
She's
go
a
around.
superhero.
She is.
How does she get her powers in that film?
That's a good point, actually. No, they just exist, don't they?
I don't know how she gets them.
In Matilda, I'm pretty sure powers
Does she
just
get like
exist.
struck by lightning when she's on a roof or something? or a ribbon. There's something to do with the ribbon.
No, that's near the end.
Is it?
I genuinely think she just has powers from the beginning of the film, and it's never explained. But Miss Trunchbull...
Oh, isn't it that she's always like, as a baby, she's weird?
Well, probably. If
Yeah,
don't
so
like
she's
it.
born with him. Yeah.
But Miss Trunchbull like picks a girl up by her pigtails and spins her around and actually
Throws her out a window.
sends her flying. It's impressive to see.
God.
And then this girl like just lands
Well, yeah,
on her
she
feet.
Thingy flies her, doesn't
Oh, of course, yeah, no shit.
she? Yeah,
That's
she flies
Matilda
her.
flies her.
Yeah.
What
You
an
can
odd
do
film.
it. Yeah, I really like the film.
It is a good film. It's very odd.
Fantastic soundtrack. But it's not this week's soundtrack, and if you can guess this week's soundtrack, be sure to comment on our Facebook page. Enjoy this tune. My buttons aren't working on my desk. But if somebody fixes it, I will be saying Dankeschön.
Dankeschön, darling.
Jack, I really appreciate you being here with me today. I just want to say...
What do I say?
I just want to say... Good to talk.
Moving
no,
on.
God
Oh,
damn
close
it, I
enough.
messed it up. Wrong one.
Close enough.
Wrong one. So I think we've covered villains. Would you say we've covered villains? Who's a villain that you've been disappointed by
Disappointed by in recent years?
in recent years?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
Because I'd say
That's-
Michael Shannon as Zod in Man of
I
Steel
like
isn't
Zod.
bad. His performance isn't bad, right? But I think it's more the characterization of the filmmaker.
I mean,
you know,
Zod's pretty evil.
so
You don't
I think
like him,
I think not as a villain, but Henry Cavill really suits Iron Man. But isn't he just depressing, moany? He's the world's like strongest, fastest, smartest man. Well, I don't know about that, but he seems pretty clever.
He's a journalist, so he can probably do shot.
Yeah. and
I
yet all he does is moan and cry. And,
just moan a bit.
yeah.
I think in
Lets his dad die twice.
twice. I think in recent years the smartest use I've seen of a villain is the one in Civil War, because he uses Daniel Bruhl is the main villain in that film,
Yeah, I was going to.
when he isn't. Because some people will be like, "Oh, he was rubbish, he didn't do anything," whereas in reality, what he did was cause the Civil War. He caused.
Did he kill himself at the end?
No, he tried to, and Black Panther put his bulletproof
Hand in front of him.
and so the bullet can penetrate. But he caused, that villain caused the Marvel Universe to split sort of in half.
Yeah, and it wasn't sort of a big superpower.
No, he didn't have any superpowers.
He was just a geezer who was
just a bloke
pissed
with
off
a-
because his family got messed up.
Just a bloke with a bomb. Just a
And, he
terrorist.
took out a few people along the way. Why
He
does
actually
he
killed
kill
Black Panther.
Black Panther's dad? Why has he killed the original OG Black Panther?
He just did. Oh, dickhead.
I know. I really want to watch Black Panther without having yet, but I saw a thing which was like explaining how the plot is a carbon copy of The Lion King, like
Oh,
down
yeah.
to the
Yeah, I saw
down to the characters and everything as well.
Good film.
Yeah,
Not 99% on Rotten Tomatoes good, but it's a good film.
how dare you disagree with the masses?
No.
Yeah, villains. Well, we said you said Venom was disappointing, obviously, and Sandman.
Oh, best villains.
The best villains.
Another one we missed is as bad as Spider-Man 3 is Spider-Man 2. Dr. Octopus is a great villain.
Dr. Octopus is pretty good in that. He's got a real motivation to be angry. Love conquers all.
Yeah, he just sort of was like, someone kills his bird, so he's just like, right, screw this, I'm
mean-
having you all.
Yeah, you're bound to feel aggrieved.
No, he kills his own bird, doesn't he?
Sort of. It's an accident. But,
that's what they all say.
Yeah. I think it's sort of the case where it's like the thing starts taking over him, doesn't it? His arms. He loses control.
Oh yeah, they're like snakes at the end, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then he like kills himself to save the world. Very heroic.
Samuel L. Jackson's quite a good villain in Kingsman to an extent.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's sort of menacing and threatening, whilst being quite a mild.
He's a good villain because he's a change on the because the whole way through they sort of break the fourth wall in Kingsman, talking about
comic book.
this ain't that kind of movie, bitch.
I don't think he calls him bitch. Does
I know he says brav, doesn't he? He says it's kind of movie brav. That's what he says at the end of the film when he kills him.
he? Yeah. That's what he says to Thingy as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's like, you like super villains? But that's what he talks about. He's like super villain.
Okay.
Samuel Jackson is really good in that film because he sort of plays a super villain, but it's quite a refreshing twist because he does. Every super is like, I'll kill you and destroy the world, and this guy's just like, I'll do all that, but I'll not touch anyone myself.
Yeah, well, he does kill one person, then he nearly throws up, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he doesn't kill him. Plot twist. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I don't like how they did that. It lost all stakes in that universe as soon as you realise that somebody can get shot in the head and come
mushroom on someone's head.
Like if they'd done he had bulletproof glasses and then he lost an eye because it went through his glasses but didn't get his brain.
That's what I thought they'd have done.
Yeah.
That would have made sense.
That would have been so much better then. There's this brain gel that preserves your brain.
Like the bullet went through.
Actually, I really enjoyed that film when I saw it. I didn't think it was as good as the first one. I think it had lots of mistakes and errors and really odd creative choices. But the more I think about it, the more I think, God, there's some stupid.
That is the worst bit of the film. The rest of it, I really enjoyed. Obviously, it's not as bad.
I didn't like the bit at Glastonbury. I felt that was just like a big ad.
Yeah, that's everybody's sort of.
I didn't find
that's what everybody has.
I know people agreed with that scene where it's like a close up of her knickers and it goes into her body.
Yeah. That's just a bit of comedy that you want to because he's a bit wacky though, isn't he? He's a bit.
Didn't bother me. I just felt that bit where it's like we're gonna go to Tennessee and then it's like and then we're gonna go back to Glastonbury.
What Matt Vaughn does though, he sort of he throws in that bit of he likes wackiness obviously, which is why he makes Kick-Ass and Kingsman. But
I didn't like Kick-Ass when I saw it.
I love Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is one of my favourite ever films.
Well, should we talk more generally about, before we get onto heroes, because that's quite a big one, comic book films in general that you were disappointed by?
Superhero films in general I was disappointed by. So, I mean, the X-Men universe does nothing for me.
Michael Vaughan's one did, I assume. First Class.
Matt Vaughn, First Class. First Class and Days of Future Past I liked. But for me, because I'd never seen X-Men 1 and 2...
they're probably the best.
Doesn't interest me. Well, X-Men 3, X-Men: The Last Stand, I'd see with the Golden Gate Bridge and the Juggernaut bitch.
On the Juggernaut bitch.
I'd seen that one. Obviously I didn't like it, and I didn't like that when I was young, so that says a lot. And then, so I started really at First Class, and First Class I really enjoy because it's it's a good idea, You go back in time, you see him as younger, he's not crippled yet, whatever. And then Days of Future Past I thought was really good, even just for that scene of the slow motion scene of Quicksilver running. That is a brilliant scene.
Yeah, Jim Crockett just timing a bottle. Ooh.
Very good scene.
Shivers.
Amazing scene. But then they tried to redo it, didn't they? Did you see Apocalypse? God, it was bad.
Apocalypse was
so bad.
The Mummy.
Apocalypse was so basically...
But it came out before The Mummy, but it is The Mummy.
If you've not seen Apocalypse, for all your listeners at home...
Just watch 1999's The Mummy.
Yeah. Well, Apocalypse is this, basically God of a villain. Literally, can do anything he wants. I think at one point he literally clicks his fingers and people just melt, right?
Oh, that's like Matthew McConaughey,
He literally, right?
The Dark Tower.
Unbelievable.
Die.
He can't lose. Anyway, of course, he loses.
He loses, yeah.
Because he doesn't click his fingers enough, obviously. It's foolish.
They take his thumb off.
He can literally, just freeze people and whatever. And it's silly. It's like, superhero films. I don't know whether to say I was disappointed because I don't know whether to say I was expecting anything good, but Fantastic.
The
new Fantastic Four film.
So that's an interesting one because obviously it came out and was critically panned and commercially flopped. I watched it sometime after.
Oh, don't!
I watched it
terrible
sometime after, and I was like,
no.
There's some very stupid stuff in this. It's clear where the studio have gone shit, and tried to fix it.
Even the director
and messed it up. But and there's some things in it where you're like, that must have been in the original, and I don't know what they were thinking. Like the fact that they're at like a school fair, like a science fair, and yet they look about 30, 29, 30, and everybody else is kids. And then they get recruited into a government thing because of a science fair. Like, I don't care how good that thing is. I'm calling bullshit on that. And that can't have been a reshoot. That must have been part of the original story. But at the same time, I think there was some saving grace in it. There's an average film in there somewhere. But
I thought the only good bit of the film was any bit with Doctor Doom in, but he was in it for about 10 minutes. I think it's a 2-hour film, hour and 50.
Toby.
And he's in it for about 10 minutes. And I mean, obviously, again, not read the comics, so I can't be like, oh, well, he doesn't compare to anything like the Doctor Doom in the comic book.
It's a simple formula. You have these four very, very well laid out characters, very different characters. Somehow they all get into this accident together. Then it's them discovering their powers. Then it's their first, I think. We've got to play on the fact that it's a Fantastic Four.
The thing is, they don't get their powers. In this Fantastic Four film, it's 2 hours. They don't get the powers until about an hour and 30 minutes into the film. It's ridiculous.
And then it just like, I'm pretty sure it just hard cuts to a...
and then they're all just sort of in jail, but not
like
jail.
Months later they're all like honing their skills, but, but individually.
Bizarre. And Mr. Stretch Armstrong's gone on the run.
That's what you want in the structure, right?
The Thing that's gone on the run. No, it's Stretch Armstrong that's gone on the run, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Thing comes after him and is like, I'm your friend.
Miles Teller. Imagine how well he could play the drums with them.
You tell you what, though, Miles Teller's crap in that film. It's like he's never acted before. You go from something like Whiplash to
I'm sure he's like the same in every role I've ever seen him in.
He is.
Apart
He's
from,
very Miles Teller. I was saying this.
Bleed for
he's
this.
got he's got a very punchable face, Miles Teller.
Well, he's a boxer in that film. That's probably the one he's very different in. Yeah, he's kind of a smug looking guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he sort of looks like he's acted for years, but sort of can't act, but sort of can, and it makes no sense.
Yeah,
Whiplash, he's brilliant in Whiplash, you know. But then Fantastic, he went literally from that to playing Fantastic Four, and it is like he'd never acted before. It's like they just picked a random guy off the street, and he was just sort of like, look at my arms. Also, the CGI was terrible in that film. But the reason I'm talking about Fantastic Four is because you reminded me about, I was reminding myself, I was talking about how powerful Apocalypse is in X-Men Apocalypse. Doctor Doom, there's a scene near the end of Fantastic Four when Doctor Doom, resurfaces from Mars or wherever the flip he was. And he comes back and he literally walks through this military base, not even exaggerating, not even clicking his fingers, just nodding. And people melt, explode, freeze. It's like he doesn't do anything.
See me off fresher.
He obliterates everything in sight. So you're like, tough cookie to crack, this bloke. Anyway, he just wants to go back to his home on the moon or wherever he lives.
Yeah, he likes it.
So he goes back to his house, and then these cheeky four
turn up,
follow him, and rob him, and then he literally just continues nodding at him, obliterates all of them, and these four, and then Miles Teller says this line that I think I sighed very loud in the cinema.
We need to work together.
He says, he can take us all, but he can't take us if we work as a team. I'm sat there like, yes, he can. He actually, of course,
he took a military base.
I think with he literally, it's unbelievable. So I think what they do, I think they throw rocks at him until he
his clobber in
can't
time.
See him, so he doesn't nod, and he literally just throws rocks at him, and I can't remember if they kill him or not, and it's just the worst thing. They throw him into a portal or something or whatever. It's a bad film. And then the final line in the film is they're trying to work out what to call themselves, and it literally goes, the guy goes, "Oh my god, guys, I've got it. We can be called the..." And then it cuts, and then the title comes up, and I literally just went, "Ugh," really loud in the cinema and left. Could have been 4 after credit sequences. We'll never know.
I'm sorry, Jack. I've just been distracted by 2 lads who, with some haste, ran into the gender-neutral toilets. I remember, no stereotypes, no assumptions, no genders.
There you go.
Hashtag we win, and that's we with 2 E's. Because it's a pun.
They must need that toilet.
Yeah. If they're not back out in 10 minutes.
10? What are they doing for 10?
It really will be a unisex toilet. Oh, no.
He's tall, isn't he?
Must have been a cheeky deal.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
The unisex toilets.
This was a film I was disappointed by. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone agree with me on this. But Scott Pilgrim is, in my opinion, Hot Fuzz, Shaun the Dead, and World's End is a great trilogy. World's End not as good as Shaun the Dead and Hot Fuzz, but they are standout films. Whereas Scott Pilgrim, to me, is just, I don't know, I just don't think it was very good. It was sort of a bit like...
It was his first venture into Hollywood, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it didn't need to... I don't think it needed to happen. I don't know.
I watched this with my dad, I remember. I got it on DVD. My mum bought it on DVD. I didn't even know Edgar Wright had made this when I watched it.
Yeah, same.
And I watched it, and I was like, I can't even make... There's just no sense to any of this. I just wasn't on board with the universe at all. It didn't bring me in.
I think it's fine.
This ultra, but what's the term for it? Surrealist universe where people are jumping through
See, I like the idea, and I like the way, it's original. It's an original idea with the whole, words going up and whatever. I just think I was saying this to, I think, Sean the other day. I just think it's all a bit in your face, and to me it seems a bit, what's the word?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead looks young in it.
She does.
She must have been like 26 or something, though. And I was going to say Michael Cera looks young in it, but when does Michael Cera?
When's he not? What's the word I'm trying to think of?
Over the top. I must go back and watch it again.
Pretentious. All seems a bit pretentious to me.
It's sort of, if we look at these stills of it, a superhero film and an indie film.
Yeah, it's really like it looks like Sky High, which
great film. Second best comic book film ever.
I'd agree. Sky High, 10 out of 10. Not Burt Reynolds. Is it
Kurt Reynolds? Yes, Kurt Reynolds. Kurt Reynolds in the what was it last week? Something James Williams.
Carl Earl
Jones. Oh, what a fantastic meme. Missing Tom this week.
Are we?
No, absolutely not. But if you're missing Tom, be sure to comment on our Facebook page and tag him in it as Tom Soper. Enjoy. Some dirty African beats. I might just leave them in the background for a bit. Why not? Hey.
Sure, we're mixing this up.
Time for our quiz segment of the show, and we'll get right back into it.
Into the news.
Why don't you start us off, Jack?
Yes, so
I'll turn that down before it distracts.
My questions are reasonably easy this week. A little bit more difficult. I sort of tried to go for like indie films rather than, like big name blockbusters or Independence Day or shite. I've sort of gone for I don't know, just indie films. So I've started off with a pretty easy one, I think. So which production company produced The Witch, Ex Machina, and more recently Lady Bird?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's a brilliant production company. If you look at some of the stuff they've done, I think they were formed in 2012.
Is it A24?
A24. They were formed in 2012, and then still going now. And some of the stuff they've done is unbelievable. For a 5-year, 6-year span. It's very impressive work. I'm sure they'll do great stuff.
Yeah. I remember looking at them and thinking, God, how wonderful it would be to work for them. If you've seen A Good Time that came out this year, Good Time.
No.
It's on Netflix now. It's fantastic. A New York crime film. Robert Pattinson's in the lead. Fantastic. Deserves an Oscar nomination. Here's a quote for my first one.
Okay.
It's two people quoting, but I'll make it clear. So, person one, Dad. Oh, God, it's just disappeared off my screen. One sec.
Holding.
Dad. Oh, God, it's gone again. One sec.
Holding.
Dad, there are whores and stuff here. Second person, who's presumably Dad. Don't say whores and stuff. Just say whores.
Interesting. I don't recognise the quote. There are whores and stuff here.
I abbreviated that slightly, so I'll read it again. Dad, there are whores and stuff here. It's disappeared again. I'm going to lose my mind. Don't say whores and stuff. Just say whores here.
No, it's not coming to me. I'm unsure. I am unsure.
It's an on-running gag throughout this film. I think you'll kick yourself. At home, can you guess what it is? If you do, comment on our Facebook page. Ding! It's The Nice Guys.
No, you see, I would not have got that. It's a great film. However, I've only seen it once, and that was when it first came out in the cinema. I should watch that again. Really, I keep meaning to watch that again because I remember really enjoying it. But yeah, I don't really remember much about it. Other than the bit where I remember rolling down a hill at one point.
Yeah, it's near that scene.
I see. Is it a bit where they're in like the mansion, the party in the mansion?
Yeah, she turns up. His daughter's like, Dad, there's whores and stuff here. He's like, don't say whores and stuff here. Just say there's whores here.
I see. All right, I've got which 2013 crime drama sees Jack O'Connell living in a prison? Thought that one was reasonably easy. It's a great film. Startup. Very good film. If you haven't seen Startup, give it a watch. It's a brilliant indie film. I put that because I rewatched 71 the other day. Did you ever get around to watching 71?
Yeah, it's really good.
I
It's
love
really.
that film. I think it's one of the best indie films I've seen in recent times. Easily up there with like Green Room and It Follows, and For Me and stuff. I think it's a very good film.
Yeah, 71 is really good. A really like a proper harrowing scene with
the pub.
The pub scene is fantastic.
Very, very great film. Great film.
Great.
Absolutely.
I'm trying. This quiz I'm using isn't loading. Let me just get this up.
Have you written your own questions, or have you?
I've used like a website, but sorry.
Weak effort. This is my 25 questions I've written now.
In the year 2000, Steven Soderbergh received 2 nominations for Best Director. Who was the only other director to do so in the past?
2 nominations for
Best
for
Director.
2 films in 1 year.
Yeah.
What do I know? Spielberg? Orson Welles? I don't know.
Michael Curtiz.
Michael, for what films? Do you know?
Angels with Dirty Faces, Four Daughters.
Okay, so we're talking quite a while back.
In contrast to Soderbergh, Curtis did not win an Oscar for either.
And what did Soderbergh win?
I'm not
Both?
sure which 2 it would have been in the year 2000. I didn't do that much research into it, to be
Quite
honest.
the feat, though.
Yeah, fantastic.
2 films in 1 year. Best director nod for both. Alright, moving on to my third question. Which 2004 film sees Paddy Considine seeking vengeance? Another great film. I saw it was the one on this little British indie.
Well, at home, if you can guess it, please do. Shea Meadows, of course.
Great film. It's a great film.
Dead Man's Shoes.
Dead Man's Shoes. Very good film. Yeah, so I sort of went with my quiz. I sort of went a bit more like indie British. Good films. Good films. Dead Man's Shoes is a great film, though. A very good film.
In the Hunger Games series,
Now we're talking. Maybe I'll get this.
what district is Fresh from?
Oh, Thrush, as in the big black guy.
Fresh.
Could you spell that, please? Is it spelled with a T?
T. Yeah.
Oh, he's from Rouge District, which is it? I feel like it's.
Oh my god.
Is it 11?
The results are in, and it is 11. Correct.
It is 11. Yeah, because he's Rue's partner, and obviously Rue dies, and then Katniss gets jumped on by that bitch. And
What's
she's
she
like,
from? I was going to say District 9, but that's in South Africa.
District 9.
Yeah.
And then he comes up behind her, snaps that bird's neck, and then's like, that one's for Rue, and then runs off, and then gets eaten by a giant dog thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like, yeah.
No, you don't see how he dies, the big black lad.
No, he just gets eaten by a giant dog thing. You hear woofing, and then you hear screaming, so you assume he gets eaten by a giant dog thing, and then the giant dog things turn up, you see. Giant dog things. Bit of a cop-out, if you ask me, but sure. Okay, I've got which documentary, so it's a little bit different here, follows Timothy Treadwell on his naturous adventures that lead to his gruesome fate.
It's the Grizzly Man.
It is the guy. Is that Werner Herzog's voice there?
Destroy this recording. Make sure no one ever hears this. I was actually watched a bit of that footage today.
That is it, what? The Grizzly Man?
Yeah, because I was watching this
That's
podcast and they were
inconvenient,
talking
isn't it?
about it, and I was trying to find if there's actually any recorded
Yes,
footage.
no, I did that when I first watched the film because for you listeners at home, if you've never seen The Grizzly Man, brilliant documentary.
Werner Herzog just tickles you. He just tickles your fancy by listening to it himself. And then
And
going,
then going, I'm not sure with you.
he's like,
It is very disturbing.
you must never watch this. You must never listen to it, and you must never see the pictures that I've seen. And the woman's just going, I won't, Werner. I won't do it. And then she's like, I heard it was quite bad. He's like, yeah, the guy got killed by a fucking bear.
You got more, right, so basically...
They turned up in 2 plastic bags
Literally,
and they had to work
right.
out who was who.
It follows... There's this mad guy called Timothy Treadwell who thinks that bears are friendly and he thinks he can live with bears, so he goes and lives with bears. And I'm sure it's for a few years. He's just chilling.
I think it's like 11 summers or something.
Yeah, he's just chilling with bear. Like, he just goes and, cuddles him, and then one comes over to him and he, wants his food, and he just punches it in the face and, no. Get your own food, bear.
And he
Come back later.
He brings a bird with him every year. I think it's 2 different birds.
Different people. And eventually, one day, he was in his camp. A hungry bear wandered in, and
This
saw
proper
two big
this proper
chunks of
knobhead
meat.
one.
Yeah,
And it
didn't like him. Must have punched it.
And then apparently there's a recording where he recorded it but left the lens cap on, so it's just audio.
Yeah, because in context, Timothy Treadwell, the star of this, was making his own documentary on how bears are friendly.
Yeah, he used to present them to schools and been like, they're all right.
But yeah, he turned the recording on, but didn't take the lens cap off, which is good because I don't think anyone wants to watch two people being ripped apart by a bear. But apparently, I did Google Timothy Treadwell, dying.
Recording. She could sell that for a lot of money. And
and it's on YouTube. I think it is. It could be. It could possibly
the audio
be
isn't.
fake.
I was looking for it. Yeah,
it could possibly be fake. I tried to listen.
Werner listens to it and describes it, and then the mortician describes it as well. And it's basically like his companion just like watching him get ripped to shreds and not leaving him and just being like, and Timothy's like, just let it happen. I'm moaning whilst he gets killed by this bear. I think we could just watch Revenant instead, and just get Werner going. You must make sure no one ever sees this footage. My name is Werner Herzog, and I am a filmmaking genius.
Hello, I am Peter Wobser. It's a great film, though. Great documentary. Very good film.
Which Pixar film is this the tagline for? He puts the glad in Gladiator.
Glad in Gladiator.
I quite like these tagline ones.
Yeah, taglines are quite good, aren't they? I'm trying to think of Pixar films. Glad in Gladiator.
It was quite an early one.
Interesting. I was trying to think of early Pixar films. Surely it's not any of Toy Stories. It could be Bug's Life. Doesn't make any sense.
The Glad in Gladiator.
Pixar. Early Pixar. Can't know. Oh, that's a tough one.
It's a good one, isn't it?
You at home know, folks? Because I certainly don't. I'll probably kill myself. No, I'm not sure.
It is Hercules.
Oh, Hercules is Disney.
Well, it's Disney Pixar.
Threw me off there.
Come on, behave.
Threw me off. Yeah, great film though.
Yeah, nonetheless.
Hercules is a great film. Does he put the gladiator in Gladiator? I mean,
I don't get it really, because he's not really glad, is he?
He's not a gladiator either. He's just a strong bloke.
Yeah.
He does fight a couple of monsters, but that's for a laugh. He takes on this Hydra just for a laugh, innit? Good film though, very good film. In fact, one of my favourite Disney films. I like Gladiator. No, Gladiator. Hercules. Gladiator. Okay, my last one is, what was the first film to be produced by Blumhouse, grossing over $190 million worldwide? Film I've never seen.
The first film produced by
Blumhouse,
do you have a year?
Production company. I don't, because I thought it was. I thought I'd throw in the grossing over $190 million worldwide, just so that you'd know it.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money. Blumhouse, obviously, we talked about it a good while back on our show. Not, I'd say up and coming, but it was formed in 2000. But I think this film was early 2010s. I think maybe just before that. And they do some amazing stuff now. They did Get Out, didn't they, this year? They do basically a lot of big stuff. Blumhouse and A24 are two sort of indie production companies. I wouldn't say indie anymore for Blumhouse, but
Is it 12 Years a Slave?
It isn't. It's Paranormal Activity. It was Blumhouse's first film.
I thought that came out sooner than that.
They had the budget of $15,000. Their production company, they hadn't made anything before. Thought $15,000. I'll put that into this film. $190 million. Now that's enough to start your own business, isn't it? That's a good amount. Of money.
Is that the first one I got wrong? Second one I got wrong.
No, it's the first one you got wrong. I think.
Did I get the first one?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you got them all right, except the last one.
This is a description of which planet or moon in the Star Wars universe. The second Death Star was built.
Yavin 4.
Jesus Christ, do you want to let me finish it?
Sorry, yeah.
The second Death Star, I think it should say, was built and destroyed in the orbit of this moon's planet. It says built and destroyed.
Oh, Endor.
Oh, it was built and destroyed. Endor is correct.
It is correct.
Congratulations. How many did you get right?
One?
No, you got more than one right.
Two? What was the second one I got right? I got Endor right.
You got Rue someone as well.
Which one?
The Thresh.
Oh, yeah. Out of nowhere question. Well, I mean, they beat Tom's questions. Tom's question about the Hunger Games would have been like, in the Hunger Games, how many Hunger Games die?
How many Hunger Games die in the Hunger Games? If you know the answer, be sure to comment on our Facebook page, the Impulse Media Radio Show and podcast. Comment in the comments section down below. Enjoy. If you're enjoying the quiz segment of our show, be sure to leave a comment on our Facebook page, maybe even a like on our YouTube channel, the Pulse, the Room Podcast. I struggled with that a bit there.
Yeah, that's you 3 weeks in a row. You've done it right, and now
I just got messed that one up. Yeah. Well, I'm doing it all out of sequence. I'm just gonna stop.
Anyway, that's the quiz
segment of the show. We tried to leave a bit of a longer gap, unlike last time when we were just like, "Is that one?"
It was an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, if I knew him.
Except the Endor question.
I like those questions. They're good questions this week, especially. I enjoyed the Werner Herzog one. The documentary one was a good one. A24 was a good
I
one.
wanted to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think writing your own questions is I don't know. I think it's better. It's just because I don't know. I just think they're reasonably more feasible.
Yeah, if you can answer them, then you know somebody else can.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I would never put a question down that I wouldn't get right in my own quiz.
What would you say is an underrated comic film or more of an indie comic film?
Indie comic film, underrated comic film.
This is probably one of my favourite ones. I'm going to get up here for a little viewing pleasure.
Chronicles of Riddick. I thought you were going to put in. It's Chronicle.
You ever seen this?
No, I've never even heard of Chronicle.
Chronicle. Fantastic film by the maker of Fantastic Four. Probably his last ever. He made this originally. This was his first film. It's written by Max Landis as well, which again, when I look at the people who wrote and directed this film, I can't believe it actually turned out all right. But it's like
Max Landis is remaking his dad's film, isn't it?
Is he? Probably not as well.
American Werewolf in London. Well, I don't know. You wouldn't take on the project if you. This is the way
I don't know. He seems pretty like he was like, right, it's a fantastic film. People don't understand it.
The thing is, but
it's just awful.
You wouldn't. What is?
Right.
Oh, thank God for that. Okay, I thought you said American Werewolf in London was a bad film.
Fantastic film. I remember watching that as a kid with my dad and me mum bollocking my dad for it because it's harrowing.
See, it's very graphic. The scenes in the cinema where he sat next to him and he's just very good film, very good film.
Anyway, this film is a superhero origin film. It's very similar to the new Power Rangers film. I've not seen that properly, but I've seen aspects of it, and it's so like. Something like lands in the earth and these guys discover it and they get powers, and there's 3 of them. Michael B. Jordan, of course, Dan DeHaan, who I don't like as an actor at all in anything, and this other guy who I don't know, he's not really in much to my knowledge. And basically their powers grow, and it's like, like in comic book films, they get the powers and then they do something stupid like, oh, I'm going to go see how fast I can go around the earth.
Yeah.
But then they're like, we got to knuckle down and do the serious stuff. In this film, they're like, they just have these powers and they're just like, oh, I'm going to go for a fly in this weather or whatever.
So I quite like that idea because you never. This is sort of like, it's like the idea that in films you never see, in the Star Wars universe, or whatever, you never see just what the normal people do, and I like the idea that.
So yeah,
people do. Just
what is really, really fantastic and like groundbreaking in it is that it's all shot in a style similar to camcorder, found footage.
Oh, I hoped you weren't going to say found footage.
This is where it's interesting because they've got these powers and they've got they can fly, they can use telekinesis, all that stuff. They have the camera on telekinesis just following them.
Okay. Yeah.
So nobody's controlling it, so it's not limited to anything. So it just it can fly around, and then it gets to points in the film where it's just like it's not even like found footage anymore because the camera's just doing its own thing, and it's not limited.
Around, yeah.
So it's quite interesting. And then the sort of a friction grows between them as some of them think they should do stuff that the others don't, and this that sort of sense that with great power comes great responsibility, or so it goes. And this one is sort of Dan DeHaan's character is quite bullied and picked on in the film, so he's quite angry and wants to use his powers for certain things.
He does look like he's on the watch list, doesn't he?
Then there's a friction, and he sort of goes a bit crazy.
Dan DeHaan always looks like he's on a watch list, though, to be fair.
He scares me. Like when you watch Cure for Wellness, it's fantastic casting because he looks ill all the time.
I've not seen it yet. Is it good? That's why I didn't watch it because I wasn't sure.
It's okay.
Really
there's a good twist in it at the end
to an extent.
Like a good
twist. It's the one in the mental hospital, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
But it's
horror.
not a mental hospital. It's a health clinic, which are real things people go to. Mostly in
book
Europe.
themselves in.
Yeah, they book themselves in and they get like spa treatments and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like a cleansing thing. But this one, it's like, the cleansing's all in the water. It's natural youth water. And he turns up feeling fine, but then through a series of things, he just gets iller and iller, and they're like, "Oh, you need this treatment because you're getting ill." So he starts to lose his mind a bit. It's okay. It's not great. I watched him in what's it called? Elysium? What's it called?
Elysium?
No. It's the new one by. I don't know how to spell his freaking name either.
It's just two A's in at the end there.
There we go. That'll do. This one, Valerian, City of the Thousand
Oh
Planets.
yeah.
And I quite liked it. I mean,
I didn't watch that.
It's a bit flawed. It's Luc Besson.
Yes.
I liked it. Cara Delevingne's really good in it. Dane DeHaan plays like the typical like I'm an arsehole, but I'm a lovable arsehole, and he's like a jock basically. Well, like he's like the in Futurama, the Bond character, the guy who's like the captain of the ship.
Oh yeah.
He plays him, but it's down to hand, so it's not convincing at all.
The thing-
When he's like a ladies' man, you look like a 12-year-old
I was
boy.
gonna say Dane DeHaan's like the American Michael. Well, he's like Michael Cera, and he's like Michael Cera, less indie films.
Yeah, he's like the guy from Dog Day Afternoon and the Deer Hunter. Forgotten his name. Plays Fredo in Godfather. Just like a sickly-looking man. He eventually died of cancer, but he's another one who looks a bit sickly, doesn't he?
He's in Boiler, doesn't he?
Yeah. It just always looks out of place in everything I've seen him in, apart from A Cure for Wellness. But yeah, seeing as he's in this film and he's surrounded by people like Clive Owen, and beautiful women, and he's like quite a sickly looking person who's meant to be like this fantastic love-making genius who's get all the ladies and is just a fantastic guy all around, and yet he's just a bit of a nonce in the film. He's just like, oh yeah, I get all the birds me. It's like that kid at school who bullshits, bullshits everything.
What is he? He's 32.
32, and it's unbelievable. He's married with a kid.
Genuinely thought it was like. I thought it was like, all right.
She's in Chronicle as well. That must be where they met. I know they got married during Chronicle.
That's cute.
Yeah, fantastic. It's real love. Yeah, but Chronicle's definitely worth a watch. Fantastic film, despite how awful. Fantastic Four is.
His last film.
I want to see Fantastic Fours. He's meant to be doing like an Al Capone one apparently, but that's disappointing. I really wish it had 4%.
It should just have 4%. I think we should just try and get it to make a petition to get.
Yes,
it to
The Room is starting a campaign. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that film. I really like Watchmen.
I really like Watchmen. I
Like
think it's
it?
a really good film.
Even
Even just for the opening scene.
the opening
title
sequence is probably
sequence.
one of the best title sequences, I think, in cinematic history.
I'd agree.
One of them, fantastic.
Up there.
Big fan of Bob Dylan. Big fan of that period in history. And I love Forrest Gump, where you look at history in different perspectives. Inglourious Bastards, just a different take on it.
I like an alternate reality, isn't it? Very good.
What I
Very
didn't
good
like
film.
about Watchmen, well, it's one of the few sort of comic book properties that I am somewhat aware of in its comic book form, is in the comic book the sort of explosion that Dr. Manhattan sets off at the end.
Spoilers.
The explosion at the end of that film in Watchmen is a big blue light, like in every comic book film or any disaster film. There's a big blue light in a city, destroying a city, and it really annoys me because in the comic books it's a big like squid monster that destroys the city, and it looks fantastic, and it really does at the back of my mind when I'm watching it. I'm thinking like, why is it just a big blue light? It's like, why?
Cheaper than making a
Yeah, I
giant
know it's
squid
cheaper
monster.
than giant squid stuff, but with the aesthetic of the film and everything, and then also in the comic book when that bomb goes off at the end, spoiler, the universe is like reset, or it goes to a parallel universe where all those people are characters in a comic book.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I quite like that.
Yeah, like this is it. Yeah. So this guy's reading the Watchmen comic book, and it's like the world has no idea like what's just happened. But it's really good. It's like Frank Miller at his best. Some really good, like this sort of thing. Yeah. That's what it's like in the comic book when the bomb goes off. Yeah. And then in the film, it's just a big blue light, which I really don't like. You know.
I don't mind. It never bothered me that. I just think
I don't like it. It happens in every comic book film. Marvel's is a big blue light in the Avengers. In the latest,
to be fair,
DC
Doctor
one.
Manhattan is blue.
Man of Steel. Dr. Manhattan is blue, but you know.
I feel like it fits.
Yeah, it just annoys me. I don't like. I think it's a cop out to destroy a city with a big blue light. You know, something bloody hell. There's a pig just flown off a balcony. What is that about?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
When pigs fly.
Yeah, that's something that I might take that on the way home if I can.
I reckon they'll have that before the
show's out.
Before the show's out. Yeah, they're looking.
Leave
at
a comment on our Facebook
Like
page.
we're the weird ones. They're just
Yeah.
throwing a pig off a balcony. Yeah, it's pretty weird. But yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jack? What do you have to say on
On Watchmen.
Watchmen?
I think it's a great film.
Great
I
film.
think Watchmen is a very good film. I only first watched it the first time a couple of years ago because the first time I tried to watch it, I got 20 minutes in and wasn't keen. But then I rewatched it and I don't know why I wasn't keen because it is great. I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. I think it's really good character development. I like Rorschach. I like the bit in the prison. I like the violence.
What about the sex? Oh, there goes a pig. Bloody hell, you messed that up, mate.
Shafted that pig. Go on.
Go on, big one. Go on. He's got it.
Walking.
Right, here we go. Oh my goodness gracious me!
Missed again. Oh, he's
You
trying
should
to walk out.
be embarrassed. What's he going to do this time? Here we go. Oh my god, that's 3 attempts to get it up.
3 attempts.
I'm shaking my head. I am shaking my head. He's clocked us now.
He has.
He's got another audience. Oh, hey! He's got it over. Hey.
What a lad. What a man. No, he's got what's his name from Fargo in it? An Insidious.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I really like him as
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh yeah.
We should do an entire episode with a Minnesota accent.
Just with a Minnesota accent.
Oh yeah.
Do an entire episode where we all just
I don't know
speak
what
in
you're
different
talking about.
accents. I'd be intrigued to see what Tom did.
Tom would just turn up and be like, "Top of the morning to you."
What's his name? Oh, Patrick Wilson. Yeah. He's in quite a lot of stuff now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of like
Very good actor.
he's kind of like an average. I'm sure he's probably one of those actors, you know, who's got a double. Another actor who looks identical to him.
Yeah.
Conjuring. Yeah, he's Conjuring, Insidious,
Doing alright in the old horror franchise in the minute.
Watchmen, Phantom of the Opera.
But yeah, he's one of the main guys and he's the main character in
Phantom.
Phantom.
Oh, that's a good film.
I almost did a
He's
question.
an Aquaman as well.
I almost did a question on Hard Candy today in my
Never
quiz.
seen that, I don't think.
Oh, it's a great
Found
film.
it next week.
It's a really good film. I might. Song?
Sure. Any requests? I
Um.
don't give a shit. I'm playing this one.
Okay.
Enjoy, and remember, as always, if you know this song, to leave a comment on our Facebook page or tweet us at the Ripples. Oh, what a tune!
Beef City, I think you were saying there.
Beef City.
Beef City.
I'm not sure it was Beef City, but sure.
I've just watched the video.
By Bill and Ben.
And the Four Potmen. I've just watched the video of a woman on the chase pass every single question before
quite
it was even
hilarious.
read out.
Yeah, I'm finding them more entertaining than the actual show. You know, I'm sure people would as well. I should just put Curb Your Meme on for the next half an hour. But no, because this is a film and TV quiz, and we're committed to it. And as always,
We say film and TV quiz, but we never actually talk about TV, do we?
we don't really, do we?
No, TV doesn't really exist for us.
Well, Tom says film, TV, and all kinds of storytelling platforms, but we don't talk about books either, do we? Really, that much, unless it's a
That's a
specialized
good
week.
point.
This is a comic book week. We're talking about.
Well,
comic books.
briefly, I suppose.
You ever seen The Rocketeer?
I haven't even
I
heard of the
remember watching it a
Rocketeer.
long time ago.
Disney?
Joe Johnston, who made the first Avenger.
Music composed by James Horner. Great composer.
Aww.
No video.
Oh yeah, I quite like Captain America: The First Avenger. It's very different from the other two, but yeah, nonetheless, probably one of the least popular ones. But yeah, I think it sets up the universe really well.
Captain America is, I think, the best Marvel.
I don't like
franchise
it.
of films.
You know what? I'm Team Stark all day. What about yourself?
Oh, I'm Team Stark because of the subject of the film, but I do think the films are really good.
It's good how nobody really gave a toss about him until these films, did they? Now he's like one of the most popular Marvel characters.
It's the same with all Marvel. Nobody really knew. No, well,
yeah, the
people
ones that
didn't really
could
know
get
about
away
Iron.
with.
Well, people don't
showing.
really know about Iron Man, particularly until Iron Man films.
Black Panther, not a clue.
10 years ago.
Vision, no.
10 years ago, nobody really knew anything about.
The big ones are the ones like Hulk and Spider-Man, and they've had a few cracks at them, and they messed them up every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, Thor, you know about? Do you really care about? I hate the first two Thor films.
The first Thor
Boring.
film isn't too bad. The second Thor film is pretty bad.
Boring.
And I remember none of it.
So just
But yeah, they are
just a
compared to the other Marvel films, the other part. However, which is weird because they massively turned it around and made Thor Ragnarok one of the best films in the franchise.
Well, it's Taika Waititi.
It is.
Yes.
It is, and that's like 4 weeks
Just a
in a row
quick little
mentions.
rock paper scissors joke for you there. So
Peace off,
fantastic.
Ghost. Great
Peace
film. Great film.
I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't print off enough flowers.
It's just
So
messy
funny.
stuff. It's
He's the best part of that film.
He is
Easily.
very funny in that film.
Meek, he's dead.
Oh, he did. Oh, yeah, he's dead. He died.
I stood on him, and I felt so guilty. I've been carrying him around this entire time. Hey guys, Meek's alive. So good.
What a film. What a film.
So good.
And then, I think my favourite, well, one of my favourite, because it's one of my favourite films, superhero films, is Kick-Ass.
Interesting.
I feel like we've not talked about Kick-Ass enough yet. I feel like we've been saving it, but
It's Matthew Vaughn.
I adore Kick-Ass. I think it's a
I remember
brilliant
watching it once and just being like, yeah, that's alright.
film. I think it's a brilliant film accompanied by a brilliant soundtrack, accompanied by great acting.
We've not had that one yet. Maybe we will in the coming weeks. Who knows? Just a bit of a clue if anybody's listening.
It's more of a score than a soundtrack.
Oh.
My apologies, I've
Should be on
misused
it.
the word.
I'm not. Is it the second one that's got Jim Carrey on?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't agree with violence.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad that because, like in terms of real life, so he made Kick-Ass 2, right, where he played this superhero called like General Bottom Kick or whatever. He basically had a dog that he would like get people, and he played an ex-mob member who turned good and turned into a superhero. It was terrifying. And then he came out after the film was like, yeah, I hate violence. I hate that they've made this violent film. I'm like,
I hate the.
why are you in it then? Why are you in Kick-Ass?
It's a bit like Tommy hates everything. Women,
gays,
people of race,
yeah,
colour. I
anyone
think,
that isn't white and white people.
Yeah, anybody from anywhere other than his village. Everybody but Roger Deakins, basically.
Basically, if you're not Roger Deakins, Tom doesn't like you.
Yeah. If you've ever made a film with one tiny flaw in, Tom hates it. He hates you.
Unless it's like
Get out.
Independence Day and it's a great film.
Yeah.
Or,
Unless it's from the 80s. Unless you're Paul Verhoeven. He don't give one. I'm just looking at Matthew Vaughn's resume of films. Very good.
He has got
very
a good. That's why I always get excited when Matthew Vaughn makes film because it's usually always good.
Started as a
He's-
producer, obviously.
He produces very good stuff as well. Like he produced
Lockstock.
Eddie the Eagle, which was great, but he's not direct
And-
Lockstock.
No, that's
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie. Yeah. Lockstock and Snatch. He both produced.
Yes, he was involved. He's great.
Good man. I like Layer Cake a lot.
I really like it. I like all those three. Those three that everyone just because he did Layer Cake, didn't he?
He
Directed
directed
Layer
Layer
Cake.
Cake,
Yes,
yeah.
that's the one. Because I always muddle those three up, but Layer Cake is great. Yeah, I love the end of Layer Cake. If you're not seeing it, spoilers.
Where he gets
But he gets he
gets
does get shot a little bit,
just
just a little bit. Great film though. I love that ending. It's like he's playing it off as the stereotypical, talking to the camera. Is like, oh well, if you didn't guess my name, then you're clever. My name is, and then just literally just gets shot like from a character that he sort of pissed off earlier in the film. Really,
is his cousin or something?
It's his bird's ex in it or something like that.
Well, he's hanging out with Sienna Miller, and Sienna Miller's hanging on Daniel Craig. So
Basically,
you do the maths.
someone
I've not
shoots
seen
the
Super, but that's James Wan. Not James Wan. What am I on about? It's a James Gunn. One of his indie films before Guardians, which are two fantastic comic book films. I think Guardians is probably my favourite Marvel film. What's yours?
I think I'd say I have to say Guardians is my favourite Marvel film. Followed by probably something like Ragnarok or
I think Ragnarok or Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier or Civil War. I really like those two as well.
Yeah, we all went to see like Winter Soldier together, didn't we? Or Civil War.
I don't even know. I think
I
we
think we did.
Civil
We all
War.
took a trip to the cinema by the docks, and we bumped into Wesley. Remember this?
I wasn't there.
Oh, all right. Well, you were invited.
I was invited.
For the record.
That's fair.
That could have been awkward.
What was this? I really like Civil War's great. I think, to be honest, I really like superhero films, but equally, I really like the Marvel universe. I know plenty of people that just don't like the Marvel universe. They think it's all boring and the same. And
I don't like some of the Avengers stuff, and I don't like some of the sequels. Like, I don't like any of the Iron Man sequels to an extent. They're okay. I hate the Thor first and second Thor.
Yeah.
I think Doctor Strange, when I watched it, was interesting. Cinematic feat, of course. Bit sort of nothing to it. I think the best of it's the space related stuff.
I do get very excited for Marvel films. Marvel, I just think great, but
Ant-Man was okay.
Ant-Man was really good. Black
I
Panther
would have liked to have
is
seen the
good.
Edgar Wright version.
Yeah, probably
But saying that,
probably been very similar.
wasn't a big fan. Well, he did write it, but apparently there's some big studio changes.
Yeah,
It just would have been a lot more
well,
wacky, I assume.
Yeah, I still think I think it's a great film.
Here's an interesting film. Have you seen a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
I have not.
I have this on
League of
DVD, and
Gentlemen.
I for years watched it and adored it.
17%.
And then it wasn't until I was much older I realised it was very critically panned. You go back and watch it, and you're like, wow, that wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, actually, I always thought that my mum loves a film called I'm sure you've seen it, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes, of course, with Kevin Costner.
Okay,
Nothing wrong with that film.
Well, now this is exactly what I said, and then I rewatched it. It was on the other day, and genuinely, is like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's all film. It's like I can't explain how bad it is.
Kevin Costner wouldn't do a British accent at all.
No, oh yeah, well that's it's an
Refused.
American Robin Hood. That's that's whatever. That's what it is. That is as
It's got
is.
big names in it.
It does. However, it's like if you look at it from a technical standpoint and like how it's filmed and stuff, it's ridiculous. It's like the director of photography had never touched a camera. It's bizarre. It's like you should just see some of the shots in it. It's all like there's no headroom. It's unbelievable. It's a terrible film.
I refuse to believe it. Alan Rickman's fantastic in that film.
I
I'm going to cut your heart out with a
also
spoon.
Alan Rickman is also terrible in that film. It's
BA.
bizarre. No, genuinely, I was
He's not
completely
been terrible in any film ever.
I was completely on your side until I watched that film again the other day, and genuinely
Well, Alan Rickman's going to
unbelievably
turn in his
bad.
grave at the foot of this. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this.
Alan Rickman's
It
what a
is
man.
not good.
Interesting wife name that.
Rimmer Horton.
Steady on that.
That's a good film. Horton Hears a Who.
Christian Slater's in it.
Christian
For years,
Slater,
my
isn't
mum would watch that film and when it was on telly, and my
With
mum would be
Christian
like,
Slater.
"Oh, he's dead, isn't he?" And I'd be like, "No, he's not." She's like, "Yeah, he died. He overdosed or something."
Christian Slater.
She's like, "No." I was like, "No, he didn't." She kept getting him mixed up with River Phoenix.
Christian Slater's in one of my favourite films.
Is it
True Romance?
Synthomania? No, it was Nymphomania.
I adore True Romance. I think
True Romance is pretty good. I only watched it for the first time last year, I think.
Did you? I love True Romance. True Romance, in my opinion, has got the best scene in any film. It's that one there, actually, the one with Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
I think that the scene where he sits down and he's like,
Where he interrogates his dad.
yeah, and he's like, you're part eggplant. It's genius. It's the best scene ever in any film.
It is really good.
It's
And
written by Tarantino, which is
Yeah,
also
he
good.
used
And it's
the,
directed by Tony Scott, who is, rest in peace, dead now.
he used the money for that to make Reservoir Dogs when he sold the script. Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody had accepted him as a director. He had to sell his
Yeah.
scripts.
So he sold. What's the other one he made? Natural Born Killers.
Oh, that's a good film as well.
Yeah, sold that. I think that was like 1990, wasn't it? So yeah, sold that out film obviously to make some money because he was still working on. 1994. That came out sometime later. He was still working as a.
See, here's a good
video
example of why Rotten Tomatoes isn't to be trusted. Roger Ebert gives Natural Born Killers 4 out of 4, 7.3 on IMDb, which is a respectable score. And Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 47%.
Ridiculous.
Now, Natural Born Killers, I watched the first time I ever put it on. I only just got past the opening scene because I was like, it's a bit weird for me this one. Because then it goes into like
it's Oliver Stone sort of.
It is, yeah.
You can tell that he's had a slant. It's like,
but
it's very odd.
It's a brilliant film. Like if you can get past the opening sort of like 15 minutes where there's like really bad green screen over the title sequence, but purposely, which is bizarre. It's a flipping brilliant film. It's really good. I only watched Natural Born Killers for the first time. I think like a year ago. Not even that. Very good film. Very good film.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves has
yes, as the old man with the
everything I do.
Yes, well yeah, it does.
I do it all for you. And then yeah, after that, Kevin Costner went on to make after the director got sacked. Waterworld. Have you seen Waterworld?
I haven't. I've avoided Waterworld for the exact reason that it is Waterworld.
So well, it's a good policy to have.
It is. That's what I've always thought.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see like a remake of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen if they got it right.
Oh
you know,
yeah, this is what we're talking about.
with Tom Sawyer,
Dorian
Dr.
Gray,
Jekyll,
Jekyll, Nemo
Nemo,
from Finding Nemo,
the guy who can turn himself invisible.
the Invisible Man,
There's some other ones. Interesting.
Dr.
people.
Dre, Alan.
Before he was in NWA, he was a member of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
He was.
Well known fact. What are we doing for time? Oh, Jack, we should wrap up soon.
We need to put on number 3302, bottom row towards middle right,
You sunk my battleship.
downwards.
Well, yeah. We'll put that on as the closing song, I reckon. Or should we put it on now?
Yeah, we'll put it on now.
We'll put it on now. Enjoy. One of my favourite bands. I think one of your favourite bands, Jack.
Good band.
It's a good band. My buttons aren't working on my desk. If you haven't guessed it by now, you really should have done.
Yeah, you definitely should have done. Best scene in the film, that. Best scene in the film.
What was that? What was that?
Do you know what?
So we're going to wrap up soon. We've come to no real conclusion whatsoever about what is the best and worst comic book.
We
never really discussed the best comic book characters ever. Who do you think the best comic book character ever is? Iconic. Best performance. If you can name one character, one portrayal of him.
I think the most standout performance of a comic book character, I'd probably say Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
I'd have to agree.
Everybody knows him. You know, you think Robert Downey Jr. now, you think Iron Man. 10 years ago, you wouldn't. 10 years ago, you
Superman's obviously very marketable, but
Shruggy.
nobody's really portrayed him. I guess in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
He was really well portrayed.
What's his name in Superman
Christopher
Returns?
Reeve.
Christopher Reeve. Yeah. That's but you
That's
know,
an iconic.
not for a nowadays generation.
Yeah, I think for our generation.
For our generation, it has to be Iron Man. Everybody knows Iron Man. You know, people who don't even like films or people or I don't know
Don't like
races
films or
know
people.
what Iron Man is.
In Africa, in the deepest, darkest corners.
You go to Timbuktu, right, and they will know
Where
probably
is Timbuktu?
in
Is that Texas?
foreign. They will know.
Pesky foreigners.
Not England. That's for sure.
Remember, Jack, no stereotypes, no assumptions, no gender roles. It's for everyone. #we win.
Yes, you do. I mean, we do.
We win. It's time to wrap up the show, Jack.
It is.
Would you like to give a shout out to anybody?
Nah, I don't even know. Don't even know if Ian51 from Bolton was listening this week.
One of them must have been.
I let him know, and he never got back to me, so maybe he forgot.
Disappointed. As always. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Yes.
If you did. To the YouTube listeners, thank you for listening and supporting the podcast. New episode every Saturday on the Room podcast on our YouTube channel.
This one didn't go up Saturday. It went up like Monday.
No, it went up later actually this week because
poor effort.
well, I've been working.
Been busy.
Been grafting, got a family to support.
Yep, 4 kids.
That I know.
Makes sense.
Our replacements are here.
Right, here they are.
If you want to support us in any way,
We'll set up a Patreon.
yeah,
Give
we'll
us
set up-
money. Just giving.
You can go on our Facebook page, the Room Pulse Media Radio Show. You can tweet us at the Room Pulse if you'd like to sponsor us, or any sort of business email. You can do it at the Room Pulse at gmail.com. Got it out there, didn't I? Any complaints, go to @QatarHero69 on Twitter. Make sure to use extra snake emojis. And that's all. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes,
Next
thank you very
episode.
much. See you next week.
Bye.
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 See you next week.